Hi, Axel. Dear Axel Rose. Axel. Yeah. I first when you said you and Sebastian Bach were like, yeah, I remember you. First, I thought that was bull, but now that I know the personality, like you really do never forget a face. This is Dust, the girl you pretended to like to her face, but then went and told the little weasel. He said he has to, that you asked me to leave, and he said I say this with love, and I was like, I was just leaving anyway. So, I mean, heck, he might have just been, needing an ego boost. So he might have just been lying to because when he saw I wasn't moving, and he was like pushing me, and I was like, so if I wasn't leaving anyway, I would have been like, hey, buddy, you're forgetting I grew up in Brooklyn. Like, let Axel say it to my face. You so who knows? Maybe it wasn't even true. If so, well, then that's really too bad because that was the last time I saw you. But then I heard you weren't feeling well, and then I found out you were raised Pentecostal. So was I. It's really too bad that well, God, God can get cock blocked too. He doesn't like to admit to his flaws. Have no other gods before me, for I am a jealous God. So he admits right there he's not the only one. He's actually Allah's younger brother, so he has a bit of a Napoleon complex. God is dead. They found his body, and he was small. Actually, really late. He was like 2 feet or so, 2 feet tall or something. Kidding. But anyhow, okay. So the Pentecostal Church, this lifelong, very dedicated vow of oath to forever, eternally uphold the broomstick up the ass. Which begs the question: exactly whose ass are they holding the broomstick up? I wouldn't want to be that guy. God forbid, no pun intended. They don't hit. They do a lot of really fucked up shit. A lot of them do a lot of really fucked up shit. They do not hit children. I can't believe he got away with it. I guess, because, if he gets in trouble, everybody gets in trouble. The fact that they let him in the system to begin with, sort of safe. So, well, then you transfer him. Like, it's really your mother, no wonder you're so fucked up with women. It's your mother's fault for allowing it, for one. I mean, what's he going to do? He can't divorce her without losing his job, so she could have had him by the balls. So, but I mean, this is, I'm willing to bet my right tit and your left testicle, which is really your left testicle is my left testicle. So I can bet your left testicle because it's mine. But anyhow, that's what we have to thank for your declining health. When I first heard this, I was like, I said in the last, about Axel, which got a lot of views. I don't know if it ever reached you, but this one really, like, God, forget all that hogwash that these bad preachers did. This is me, Dust, talking. The Dust that you couldn't have made the world without. Let this message, out of all the things I've asked you for, you have to let. This isn't a request. This is just do it. You have to somehow let this get to Axel. We need his health back. Yep. Too bad most of them are dead now. You can't even, smack them upside the heads for allowing this. But I'm not sure, you could, we're Christians, we can't say, well, or I'll sue you, but ask them to pray. Now that we know this, ask that, they pray that you get your health back now. Healing. They do believe in healing hands sometimes. They're very rigid people, very broomstick up the ass. sex is like the ultimate sin. My mom even said, like, I don't know where she found this in the Bible. It's just, once you're saved, you get forgiven for everything except fornication. So, kill your children, throw them out the window, give them back to Allah, whatever you do, don't fornicate. Is like when they care that if you stick your finger in someone's ear, it's considered rape because you're putting a pen into the orifices. It's like, wait a minute, so what if they get into a brutal fight? And my friend Scott said, "Oh, man, beat his brains and just start sticking your finger in his ear." But that's actually, was a pretty good. We weren't talking about the Pentecostal church, but it's actually a pretty good description. Yeah, my chaperone Lois, the lady who helped raise me, she brought humanity to the Pentecostal church because she was the one to say, what do you think? 'Cause we're Christians, we wear our hair in a bun, we wear orthopedic shoes. Most do. They are very rigid, but they're also very nice people. They're boring, but I mean, they're very patient, very kind, and Pentecostal church saved me. That's why I fell in love with these people because they were the only ones that didn't hit me. That's I was withering away. It's just skin and bones, turning into a skeleton, and I wasn't. I looked anorexic. I went, but I wasn't not eating because I thought I was fat. I just didn't feel like it. It was this interest level of zero for whatever emotions were going through me that made me have absolutely no interest whatsoever in food. They're the ones who got me to eat. Because I meant to say that I wanted a dessert, but I accidentally said rice. But when I saw the look on Angelo's face, the look in his eyes, in the beginning I was eating just for them. Okay, it started with, and I didn't want the soup. She just said, "Oh, it's a little bit because it's cold outside." One teaspoon. I was like, "Okay, I ate a little bit," and she was very patient. Like no one else. You have no idea. Like trying to get me to eat was like declaring a war. They actually got me to eat. They were very nice people. Very, like it's very rigid. Rigid ain't the word for it. This pretty lady came to dinner one night, and look at it, and even at 7, I was smart enough to know. I was like, man, she's pretty. Too bad she's a Christian. And sure enough, because you see, during supper prayer, it was actually my idea. I forget how I managed to get the words to my sister, but somehow I got the message to her. So as soon as they started praying, they're praying, their eyes are closed. Perfect time to go under the table, tie Brother Edwin's shoelaces together, and be back up at the table with our hands folded like two little angels. And we did 100% success rate. And we forgot about it. Like, would you believe he sat at the table with his ankles crossed, which is a sign of a slavery submission. Somebody walks with their hands behind, holding their hands behind their back, or the fact that his ankles were crossed the whole dinner, and even when he went to get up, because that's when he fell back down, because he didn't even and as he was getting up, his ankles were still crossed. Like, he even uncrossed the ankles first. Which is a major sign of subliminal major enslavement, submission, like the red Kabbalah string tying our hands behind our backs. And Sophie, that was when Sophie, who's normally very very strict, she checked out on that one. She didn't say anything good, bad, or different. She must have held her breath till she got to her room and then laughed her ass off. Even the guys couldn't help but laugh. They laughed inside when they were driving us up, and they're like, "Oh yeah, he's going to think of you every time he crosses his ankles." Like, oh, those girls again. But the lady, the pretty one, she came to say, "Yeah," and she was like very rigid, you know, like not exactly mean, but like almost. So she's, do you think that's right what you did? And she was trying to get me to say no, it was wrong. I was like, I think it was funny. She said, "What do you think was right?" I just kept saying, but I think it was funny. I mean, if it's funny, it's fun. if it feels right. I mean, when something's funny, that's just a class by itself. There's no right or wrong when it's funny. It's fucking funny. You ain't hurting anybody. I mean, it almost said, we didn't want him to fall down like that. I mean, who knew that? How was I supposed to know his ankles were tied together? We wanted to tie his shoelaces together, not his ankles. He must have spread like a skin condition. But I mean, that's they can do some fucked up shit to like my mom. She's like, "Oh, I'm a Christian now. God's gonna forgive me for everything. So long as I keep my legs crossed, God will keep forgiving me." And she did a lot of fucked up shit with me, like come curfew. The phone was always unplugged, the doorbells were always unplugged, and I was expected to be home at 10 o'clock. No ifs, ands, or buts. A lot, it was always of my own accord. And thank God there was never nothing bad ever happens where I was in trouble, and because calling, mom, I got into this car and wound up. God knows where I am. I'm in West Virginia. A guy offered me to drive ride home. Thank God nothing like that happened, because I would have been fucked. She was that fucked up and mad. Towards the end, she started getting better. So when I would go, she'd force me to go to church. I remember I would get these penny candy gums. They were like, it was like a blow pop, but it had a really thin shell. So, unlike a blow pop, it's really thick. It was as soon as you put it in your mouth, like 2 seconds later, you show its crack. And so every 60 seconds, every minute on the minute, I would put another one in my mouth. By the end of the sermon, I would look like a blowfish. I knew that 10 o'clock was at like 10:01. Now it's 10:02. 10:03. Oh my God. Like, now the whiz, hey, way out of line, buddy. So as soon as I got caught eye contact with Brother Edwin, that was when I raised my wrist and pointed at my watch. I look back now like, man, that took a lot of balls. But you don't see balls when you're in. All you see is you're being forced to go to a place you don't want to go to, do something you don't want to do every second. And like, 3 minutes overtime to somebody who didn't even want to go there to begin with. Like, that's, it's like, what guts? So, yes, the Pentecostal church does suck. Big time. But I cannot believe he put his hands on you. And you must have known all your life on some level or another that goes against just about everything the Pentecostal church is about. I mean, out of all the bad ministers out there, and I mean, it's some good, some bad, some come see, come saw. But that is the ultimate oath. Once you break that oath. So, once he did break that oath, so that must have like put everybody in limbo since the day he broke the oath. Until somebody breaks the silence, which is me now. Yeah, so anybody who's this, it's everybody. It's like when we went to the lake house during the summer, and then we had to go back to the city on the last day. That's when whoever wakes up first wakes everybody else up. It's kind of like that, except getting this message to Axl Rose, because there's only one Axl Rose. We want to keep him healthy and keep him around. Losing a job, we can always get another job. We can't get another Axl Rose. Hopefully, he'll be nice to ladies this time. Well, that would just be nice. If you really didn't like me, you would have thrown me out during sound check. Because there I was, there I was in Axl's world, as my boss explained. Like, no, you're in Axl's world now. So I was the only other person in the room besides the sound guy. So he definitely saw me, and he don't, Axl's got balls. He would have said something right there. So he couldn't have disliked me that much. So who the hell knows? Maybe this guy was just being a word that would be I'm not a Christian, so I can't say it's unchristian. Like, it would be unladylike. I try not to say words like bow-legged menstrual chunk or cocksucking motherfucker because I am a lady. Anyhow, may this reach Axel's ears so we can all get out of that Pentecost. Like, out of all the things, putting his hands on you, like, oh my God, that must have traumatized God. And that's another thing. Like, as long as they're not getting struck by lightning, they believe that that's a sign from God that God agrees. No, that's a sign from God that God is so fucking traumatized. It's like the movie Dogma, where he's probably in the hospital in a coma somewhere. So God needs this exposure. We all do. To get out of that limbo state, so we actually can get his health back. Yeah, maybe even God himself too. Who knows? Alrighty, that's that. Every time I make it just sucks about when I make these. I don't know how to edit them. Like once they're made, like that's it. I don't even know how to glue it. I tried taking two pieces and gluing them together. Like the only way I can do that is like I would have to make the two tapes, play them from a speaker onto a third one. And, so who the fuck cares? The important thing is that this be brought to the surface that you must have known all your life deep inside. Once he put his hand on you, and the fact that he was doing it profusely, oh my God. Like I say, it's very rare, for a minister to get fired. That's, because it looks bad on the church. But most ministers really do not hit at all, ever. Uh, if anybody is still alive from that congregation, just ask them to pray for you that, you know, confirm with God that that was not supposed to happen. If they were scared, they were scared. Yeah, what are you going to do? Pray for health. That's what you're going to do. You pray for health. Yeah, I'm saying, we just have no reason to say that. That is the one thing that they are very diligent about. Is rigid with that broomstick up their asses as they are, broomstick and all. Hands on healing is. Luckily that's in the system. Thank God. Alrighty, arrivederci, and now I really do. We better run into each other soon. Because where else are you going to find out of all the people out of all your how many? Because there aren't too Pentecostal isn't a very popular religion. How many people are you going to meet that actually are familiar with the Pentecostal church? It's like wow, after all these years, I've been a fan most of my life, and I just found out now, like you raised Pentecostal. I don't think anybody else even in the world even knew what that was. All right, hope to see you soon. Get well.